Drusilla pea possum. Sells perfect posies for mere pennies to mice and chipmunks and weasels and skunks and squirrels and rabbits. This is the second time I've made a big Drusilla pea possum, but the last time I made her, she wasn't a peddler. This time, she is. This is my Southern Highlands showpiece. Today I got a really brightly colored bouquet, and all of these flowers in this old crock came out of the meadow. So what we have here are blackberries, and this is a butterfly, what is it, butterfly weed? Butterfly weed? I think it's butterfly weed, yeah. Black-eyed Susan. I don't know what this is. It's a beautiful little wildflower. The leaves are very much like cosmos, but this isn't any kind of a cosmos as far as I know. And then these wonderful trumpet pitchers or trumpet vines that are growing over the fence. They've just reseeded from seeds brought in by the birds from a trumpet vine that we have growing on our pump house. So, oh, and also we've got more Queen Anne's lace here. This is just a very vibrant bouquet. Very beautiful. And you know it's okay to use vegetables and fruit and vines and even lettuce leaves in your bouquets. But I think that blackberries look beautiful in a bouquet. So that's the first one we have here today. Very bright and cheerful. The bouquet we have here is in the old bean crock. These are polar bear zinnias. They are a little past their prime, but I picked a few of them just to get some white into this bouquet. And then we have the daylilies, which are just native plants around here. Some more purple larkspur. And this interesting pod, I have no idea what it is, but I thought this interesting pod thing would be very beautiful in a bouquet as well. So this is another bright and vibrant bouquet. And the third bouquet today, I had all this leftover, all those old leftover wild blackberries, so I put those in with that little wildflower, or that little wild weed. You know, bouquets can be elegant, they can be simple, they can be, mine are just country bouquets. And anybody can put together a simple bouquet like this. Just make sure you treat your water with sugar and bleach. I've also heard that dissolving a couple aspirin in the water will help. And then change your water about every 2 or 3 days if you want to keep the flowers nice and fresh. So, 3 bouquets, all very different from one another. And very, very pretty. Welcome to Hopalong Hollow. It's a rainy day in mid-July, and we're going to be walking into a jungle here because we've been doing shows for the last 2 weeks, and I haven't been able to do anything in these gardens, so they are just, oh my gosh, they're overgrown. They're probably got a lot of weeds in them, but this does happen. This is reality, so we won't pretend that it's anything else. But I want you to see that front yard garden, how absolutely huge it's grown as far as height and abundance. Now, these really are, I would say for the most part, 99% plants. But what's happened here is it has gone from plants that were about 2 foot tall to a lot of bushes, because we've got some chaste bush in here, which is that wonderful plant that produces those fabulous blue spears, kind of coney type flowers. I can't even talk today. This is a beautyberry bush. There's a crepe myrtle. These are Joe Pye. They're really tall here in the front. So this is pretty much a herbaceous border now. And those very, very tall plants there in the back are Georgia sunflowers. The only things blooming at the time, however, are the brown-eyed Susans, black-eyed Susans, a Shasta daisy, the last of the phlox, the last of the coneflowers. Excuse me. And that, I can tell you for certain, are a bunch of long grasses that I really need to get in there and yank out so that the sedum can be seen. So this garden looks like pretty much of a mess, to be quite frank about it. The back of it's kind of pretty, but this section here, it's a mess. Let's face it. Garden off the porch, which is pretty much perennials, only perennials, Rose of Sharon, phlox, some sedum, and the ever-present rudbeckia. We'll take a quick shot of the large cutting garden, and I will also show you what it looked like in the sun one of the days when we came home from the show and I was able to film it. Just full of bees and butterflies. This is the small basket cutting garden, and I just wanted you to see this lovely kind of a ruby red pincushion flower. This is the first time I've grown this. Grew it from seed. I guess there are only about maybe four plants here, because I wasn't quite sure. They weren't very generous with the seed, and I know all of them did not make it. But at least 4 of them did. And here are the glorious and happy zinnias. Starting to open up all different kinds of zinnias. I love them. They're so comical and fun. You never know what you're going to get in a pack of zinnias. Here are some Millennium Aliens, and here they are opening right now in mid-July, which is great. A very lovely little phlox with very tiny flowers on it. Much smaller than the normal phlox flowers, which are also pretty small, but not like this. Kind of a haphazard growth pattern here. I didn't expect all these tall things in the front, but you never know what's going to happen. So, as long as they grow and bloom, that's what matters. And here's that Liatris. Bought about 50 bulbs of Liatris and put them in all sorts of gardens. I wasn't quite sure if I liked them. They're kind of unusual. The jury's still out on that one. You may remember in the last video that I wasn't happy with my snapdragons. Well, here's one that actually did what it was supposed to. The only problem is it's here by itself in this trough. But yeah, it got nice and tall. It's got lots of different stems on the one plant. It's blooming in a very pretty color. It's got a nice backdrop with some morning glories. So I'm just going to leave it here. And then I planted something else called Lisianthus, which is something I've never tried before, and I only got 2 of them. That's one of them. Oh, there's a little, oh, how cute. Did you see that little lizard? He's so cute. Anyway, I only got, and that one too, another little bitty one. Pretty unimpressive. There's a little patch of bee balm from seed. So things are still perking up in this little trough on this side. This is actually an old wash bucket from probably the 1930s. You may remember about 2 weeks ago I planted seed again in this nursery trough. And as you can see, these are the Mexican sunflowers and some more different varieties of zinnia. And these are ready to go into the garden. Once they're in the garden, these will bloom. all the way through October here in Tennessee. This is St. John's Wort, the ever-present black-eyed Susan once again. You have to admit, they are a happy flower and exuberant. We have the peppers, which are pretty pokey, and of course tomatoes are always pretty reliable, throwing up that old weather. And here's a zinnia that I missed pulling out of the sidewalk, but all the ones that I pulled out of the sidewalk before and put them in the background right there, look at them, aren't they doing beautifully? And this is what I talk about zinnias all the time, about how they have their leaves all the way down, which makes them such a great plant for filling in spaces when you're trying to hide some dying foliage of other plants that you can't pull up yet. But they do such a great job of covering up unattractive growth. The beets are, oh, looks like somebody's chomping on my beets. They just better not do that. I love the way a garden looks in the rain. I just love it. Very quick video until the rain stops. Just wanted to say hello and to thank those of you that came to the Southern Highlands Craft Fair over the weekend. It was such a pleasure to meet you, fellow gardeners. We absolutely have a lot in common, don't we? We are kindred spirits in so many ways. So it was an honor to meet those of you that came, and I hope to meet some more of you in the near future. And I think I'll end this video by taking you through my art table at the show, which was a very beautiful show, but I just want to show you some of the characters that I took along with me to the show. The Hopalong Hollow folk. And until the sun comes out, this is Jerry saying goodbye until then. Now this is one thing I'm trying to finish up, and this is going to be a red squirrel. Hopefully, I'll get this done before the night is over.